Listen to this. For the devil operates in the soul primarily in the area of memory and imagination. He brings up emotionally laden images that are buried in our preconscious and unconscious mind. How our psyche and the vast spiritual world intersect one another is an unfathomable mystery. I want to talk about conflict, and I'm speaking this morning not just as a priest, but as a marriage and family therapist. If you are in relationship and you are running away from conflict, then you haven't started. Conflict is a necessary component in relationships. Whether conflict will arise, that is yes. How to deal with, how to resolve conflict is where the problem is. First of all, the human tendency is to avoid, run away from conflict, because the brain doesn't want to confront. The brain doesn't want you to confront those moments that are tough. The brain wants you to feel safe. So the tendency is to run away from conflict. And we call it stonewalling. Stonewalling. So what happens is when conflict arises, the individuals involved are afraid of communicating. They are afraid of dealing with it. They want to feel safe. So you go away. And the more you go away, the more the space is created. So it becomes, how do we communicate when there is conflict in order to bring a healthy resolution? How do we communicate? What does the mind produce at that point? This is the first way and the first place to start. It says the memory can pull up imaginations. The devil operates in the soul primarily in the area of memory and imagination. And what does that happen? He brings up emotionally laden images that are buried in our preconscious and unconscious mind. You begin to, have you found yourself in a situation where your mind is beginning to tell you things about your partner, about your spouse, about your friend? Your mind begins to conjure images and make those images real. Make those images sound very real to you. And it can be hard to prove otherwise. We call it cognitive distortion. Mind mapping. So the mind begins to tell you, oh, this is what is happening at the other end. This is what is happening at the other end. And the more the mind tells you, the more the mind wants to cement or concretize those images in your mind, in your memory. Sometimes the devil takes advantage of those moments in relationship because you are made to believe that what is coming up in your memory is real. Your cognition is distorted. Your viewpoint is compromised. Your vision is blurred. And your emotions begin to do what? Well up. Your emotions begin to flood in such a way that the rational part of your brain is shutting down. And you don't want to communicate. When you don't communicate in your relationship, you are gradually declaring a death sentence on that relationship. I say that again. The more you fail to communicate in your relationship, the more you declare a death sentence on that relationship. Gradually. And when I say communicate, I don't mean texting. Most times, the texting part becomes the convenient solution within that framework of conflict because you don't want to talk about it. When you talk about it, you get aggravated. When you talk about it, You get upset because the mind is flooded, the emotions are flooded, the reasoning part is completely less at work. So when you text, you're texting from your end and the other person is responding to you, and then you say hi and she says hi, and then it's like, okay, see the type of hi you say to me. How are you doing? I'm fine. So it's cut and dry, I'm fine. What's next? What do you want? The relationship begins to dry up. Those juices that help to nourish the communication are not there anymore because the mind is telling you something and you cannot communicate effectively. There's a difference between texting and speaking about issues in relationships. There's a huge difference between texting and speaking. When you speak, you hear the voice. When you speak, you feel the emotions. When you speak, you hear the mind. When you speak, you have a network of emotional connection that is way beyond the written words. When you're writing text message, your mind is on reply. What is she going to say next? What is he going to say next? Okay, I'm waiting for him to come up, and then I'm already having in my mind the catalog of things I want to tell him. So, is deal with it. This is a part of what aggravates conflicts in relationships. One way to help yourself is what we call cognitive restructuring. Cognitive restructuring means you have to work on yourself first. And it is a technique that can help you to readjust the mind, change unhelpful or irrational thoughts that build inside of you. First of all, you have to identify those irrational thoughts, those automatic thoughts. What are they? What are those thoughts that make you feel negative about the other person, about what he's doing, about what she's doing, about what he's saying, about what she's saying, about what he's going to say, about what she's going to say? What are those thoughts? How can you identify those thoughts in order to create appropriate response, valid response, rational response? So once you are able to identify those automatic thoughts, the next step will be to do what? To challenge those thoughts. Hey, who am I at this point? Who am I? And what am I thinking? Why am I thinking this way? So how can you challenge those thoughts? By questioning the validity and the accuracy of your thoughts, of your emotions, of the evidences that produce those emotions. How can you question them, challenge the negative logic, challenge those alternative perspectives, and do what? Tell yourself that these thoughts aren't healthy for you and for the relationship. Once you're able to identify, challenge those negative thoughts, then you begin to do what? Recreate. You consider what we call alternative explanations to those thoughts inside of you. Begin to tell yourself that there is no realistic interpretation to what I am doing and what I am feeling and what I am hearing in my mind at this point about the situation or the event. Once you're able to do this alternative explanation, begin to consider what are the alternative explanations to these negative thoughts that are coming up in me. Then you can do an adaptation of your thoughts. Balance your thoughts by now replacing these original negative thoughts with more positive focused, healthier, and realistic thoughts and emotions. And this can help you to now go into the conversation. So once you're able to work on yourself, first of all, identify the thoughts, challenge the thoughts, consider alternative thoughts, and recreate balanced thoughts. And you can now say, hi, honey, what is going on here? I've been wondering why you're acting this way. I'm wondering what we can do. I'm wondering why even I feel this way. So can we address the situation? This is called conflict resolution approach. Conflict resolution approach. A lot of relationships, a lot of marriages, a lot of friendships have been destroyed by negative thoughts. And this author says again, for the devil operates in the soul, primarily in the area of memory and imagination. He brings up emotionally laden images that are buried in our preconscious and unconscious mind. And now you can integrate this into the spiritual life, right? So when the devil takes advantage of your negative thoughts, you are the one who is acting, but then you are giving room for the devil to operate. And Peter says, do not give the devil his opportunity. Do not give the devil his opportunity. My friend, do not let the sun set on your anger, on your upset, on your anxiety, on your negative thought, on your bad feelings. Do not sleep on that. Do not let the devil take advantage of it. So, the devil we're talking about is giving room to things to snowball into situations that can become irreconcilable and irresolvable. So, my dear friends, a good number of people struggle, a good number of relationships struggle because of things that can be amended, things that can be resolved. Conflict resolution can take courage, can take energy, can take boldness, but importantly, can take self-work, self-understanding, self-acknowledgement. Once you're able to take care of you, then you can do a relational work of stepping out to your friend, to your spouse, your husband, or your wife. I bet you the person at the other end is not comfortable about the conflict as well, not comfortable about the situation, but may not know how to take care of it. So when both of you are stonewalling, you're running away, you're shying away from resolution. And the more you shy away from the resolution, I say it again, you are declaring a death sentence on your wonderful friendship, your wonderful relationship.